What's up guys, Nightwolf88 here. It's been a long while since my last upload, and you guys are in luck because I have a very crazy story to tell you guys tonight, and it's probably one of the craziest that I've ever told on this channel. It happened very recently, and it took place while I was at school, which I'm actually about to graduate high school in a few weeks. I'm a senior, so that means that I'll be moving on with my life and getting out of this hellhole known as high school. Can't even pronounce hellhole. That just shows how much that school teaches. I'm actually wearing one of my school t-shirts. Yes, our mascot is the Yellow Jackets. Our mascot's a bug. That just shows how easily squashed our football teams are. It actually kind of explains a lot. Our baseball team's really good, though. Anyway, that's not the point. Tonight we are going to discuss why the people that run my school are complete idiots, and why I have lost all respect and hope for them. Yeah, so let's just start out with how the day began. As cliche as it sounds, it seemed like a normal day, at least for me. So I drive to school, I get in the parking lot, and just get into school. First class, pretty fine. It's nothing major, just a few test grades for the end of the year. So first class comes and goes. Talk to my friends for a while. Second class starts off, and I've got to finish an exam that I didn't finish on Friday last week. So I'm about halfway done with this test, and there's a knock at the classroom door. It's the assistant principal. She comes to the door, and she asks for me to step out of the class. I almost lost my train of thought there, but saved it. She calls for me to come out of the class, and right next to her is a campus officer, which, a little background history, our school, much like a lot of schools around America these days, our school has a security team just to make sure that students are being safe and not trying to bring anything illegal on the premises. They try to stop fights, and when I say try to stop fights, I mean they pepper spray people in the face until they stop fighting, because it's pretty difficult to fight with capsaicin in your eyes and nostrils. Yeah, so anyway, the assistant principal's in the hallway, Paul Blart's next to her, and yeah. So they call me out, they tell me to bring my belongings. I grab my binder, my backpack, my hoodie. We walk to the assistant principal's office, and that's when I notice that there is a police officer there, and not a school security member, like a very real police officer. So she asked me a few questions, and I'm not going to give like everything of what they said because some of it is confidential. So basically the lowdown on it was someone had written a very threatening message on the bathroom wall upstairs, which by sheer coincidence I actually used that bathroom earlier that morning. So me and about 8 other guys that went in and out of that bathroom, we are now suspects of a very real threat that was written on the bathroom wall. So I was one of the first of many that were called into the office, and as a suspect, they just start asking me like standard questions. Mr. Nash, is there anything you want to tell us? And I just tell them the truth. I did in fact use that bathroom and come back out like sometime after, and I just told them everything that I did. So the campus security, they asked to search through my belongings. They're taking my binder, they're taking textbooks that I had in my backpack, they're taking my backpack in general. They put me against a wall, they have me empty out my pockets and pat me down. I had the keys to my truck, which they asked if they could search it, so I got nothing to hide. I give them my keys, and two security officers go out to my truck, they search it, and I would find out, thanks again guys, for bending up my registration papers and just cramming them back into my glove box. Listen, I got respect for anyone in law enforcement and emergency services in general, especially being that I got 3 family members that are police officers, but come on. I really didn't need a bunch of Paul Blarts just cramming my freaking registration and papers back into my glove box. Like, try to be a little more careful, man. Even if you guys think I'm a suspect for that really real threat. Now, if you guys haven't figured it out already, I am innocent, as the fact that if I wasn't, they would have figured that out by now. They being the police, and I would most likely be in a jail cell right now, not making this video. But anyway, they figured out I was innocent, and here's how it all went down. So we're in the assistant principal's office. There's like 2 police officers in the hallway. There's a 3rd police officer that is standing in the room, just staring me down, and I think I might have actually known her from the time that Alex actually just became an officer recently, my sister. So she's just kind of staring me down, and the assistant principal staring me down. They're searching through my stuff, and they take a few of my notes from my binder and try to match up the handwriting that's on the wall to the handwriting that's on my notes, which isn't really matching up because I'm not the one who wrote the message. So yeah, after a while, the head principal of the school walks in, and he asks me a few questions and goes about his business, leaves the office. So after a while, the police officer leaves, and it's just me and the assistant principal of the school. So something comes up on her walkie-talkie, and she says, "Okay, Grant, everything checks out. We'll just need you to stay here for about 20 minutes. So I'm like, okay. I mean, not that I have a choice. So, like, I'm just like, okay, I got nothing to hide, so we'll just sit there. After a while, me and the assistant principal, we're shooting the shit. We're just talking for a while, talking about weekend, talking about gearing up for graduation day. So, around that time, the head principal walks back into the office, and he says, "Mr. Nash, I'm going to search your belongings again. So, I got no problem with this." I'm like, alright. So he takes out my binder, violently zips it open, and the assistant principal's like, "Oh, we already searched this stuff." He's like, "Oh, I know, I'm just, going through his binder some more." So I'm just like, alright. It's a little weird, but go ahead. So he pulls out a few more of my notes, and now keep in mind, they've already compared the handwriting on the wall to my handwriting from the papers before. But the head principal, is now considering that my handwriting may look a little similar to the handwriting on the wall that has a threat, obviously. So to him, it looks pretty similar. To everyone else, not so much. But this is apparently enough for him to be concerned, or quote-unquote concerned, because there are 2 police officers out there. They come in, they're like, "What's going on?" So they all go into the hallway outside the office without me. I hear a bunch of whispering, and the head of the school security comes up to me and says, "Mr. Nash, we're going to have you come down to the station with the officers out here." So I'm like, okay. Now at this point I'm a little nervous, but I know that nothing bad's gonna happen because I didn't do anything, and the officers seem to already have figured out that I'm innocent. So I walked to the front of the school with a police officer carrying my backpack and my hoodie. We get into the police cruiser. He actually didn't even cuff me, which I was surprised because I thought that was what all officers had to do just in case, especially for suspects, because he puts me in the back of a police cruiser, and I was like, just growing up watching cop shows and having 3 family members in law enforcement, I'm thinking, okay, shouldn't he have like cuffed me or anything? Or, I mean, I'm not complaining, but you know, I was surprised. He's just like, get in the cruiser and wait for me, I'll be back in a second, just buckle up. And I'm like, okay. So he closes the back door behind me as I get into the car, and I buckle up. He comes back, and there's like 2 detective cars following us. So we get back to the precinct, and they start asking me, the same questions, and after a while my mom comes in. Apparently the school had called her and told her that the police need her down at the station. So at this point my mom's been called from work. She has to leave her job because of some bullshit that her son wasn't even involved in. And yeah, my school system is very smart, as you can tell. But anyway, like I said, I have complete respect for all the officers that were doing what they were doing. They're just doing their job. Don't hate on the guys that did this. I mean, they're in law enforcement. They're just following orders and doing what they're told. If I was a cop, I'd be doing the same thing and want to make sure that everyone's safe and all. So I wasn't mad at the officers. I am, however, mad at the school system and mad at the head principal, just because he was a dick. Like, for one thing, ever since I've gotten into high school, like, the head principal never liked me to begin with. Hell, he never liked Alex back when she was in high school, and that was like, what, 8 years ago? So, like, it's pretty clear the principal doesn't like anyone. He's an asshole. So, yeah. The police officers, they were really cool with me. I told them everything that I knew. The 2 detectives that me and my mom were talking to, they gave me a sheet of notebook paper and asked me to write the exact same message in pen. So I do so, and they've got a photocopy of the message that was on the bathroom wall. They compare my handwriting to the message in the picture, and everything checks out. They realize that I'm innocent. So, yeah. After that, Alex, my sister, she shows up. She asks if everything's okay, and everything checked out. Everyone knows I'm innocent now. So, at this point, the school, thinking that I'm still a suspect, has had it written down that I had to just be sent home for the day. Even though the police have already told them that I am definitely not the one who wrote that message. But, once again, I'm not complaining. I got a half day off of school for being a suspect. So, yeah, everything seemed to check out okay, besides my local high school's retardation. Yeah, all I can say is I still have high respect for the men and women in law enforcement and emergency services, especially since I got family members in there. And I'll just let you guys take this video as a note to don't be messing around and making threats, especially when you're in a public place. Don't make threats at all. Like, really, like, they're just some things that you guys don't need to get into in life. You guys don't need to be doing anything to try and impress people, because if you're doing things to impress people, chances are those aren't the ones you're going to want to stick with. They're not your friends or whatever. As cheesy as that sounds, That's just my personal experience and what I like to think of as the truth. So yeah, I came home. My dad came home from work shortly after. I told him everything that happened. Um, yeah. So that's the craziest police encounter. I was I was suspected of a major crime that took place in my school, and I was proven innocent and got a free half day off of school. So yeah, thank you for my idiotic school system for letting me have the rest of the day off, I guess. Yeah. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thumbs up just for the fact that I had to deal with this bullshit earlier on, and it wasn't really fun. Like it was fun when I found out that the cops knew I was innocent and that I wasn't gonna be wrongfully put in jail. So yeah. If you like the content on my channel, please subscribe. I'm gonna be uploading a few more videos soon after this one. Yeah, so look out for those. And with all being said, guys, NetWolf88 out of here.